Hello, hello, hello. I am Gayatri and welcome to the very first episode of Here Goes Everything with Us.
Hey everybody, this is Amisha, and I am super excited to be recording this. Finally.
I know, right? Since it's the very first episode, we thought it would be really interesting for you guys to know how we landed here, who we are, why we started this podcast, how we started this podcast. Nobody asked, but we'd still like to share.
Yeah,
Okay, so after 1.5 years of overthinking, recording, re recording, self doubting, never releasing, here we finally are working on it so actively. And I'm really proud of us actually. And I think just this whole process of working on this podcast has made us more confident and it has really taught us a lot of things, right? If you really want to do something, you have to do it without thinking of the consequences or just, you know,
yeah. And to anyone who's listening right now, I just say that if you have the opportunity to reach for your dream, just go for it. Even if you do not know how, just start, and I'm sure you'll figure it all out in the process, especially if you are really passionate about what you're doing. And I know that I sound like this very successful person giving out advice based on my years of hustle, which is not the case. But I'm saying all of this from whatever I have learned from starting this podcast. Because as Gayatri said, right, this is not the first time that we are recording for it. We have been thinking about starting a podcast since more than a year. We recorded an episode back in October 2022.
yeah.
Yeah, but we did not feel confident back then, and we scrapped that recording. And we were quite demotivated after that for a long time until just one day when we thought that we need to do this because this is something we feel really passionately about and we need to put in the work. We might not have the fanciest of equipments. In our case, we do not even have an equipment, okay? So, yeah, and we might not be able to produce the best quality audio right now. We might not sound as confident right now, but I know that we will get there because we really want to do this. So, yeah, I'll just stop giving Gyan now.
It is good to have another form of digital diary that we can look back to and just feel happy, just feel nice that we decided to push ourselves. We decided to do something extra. We wanted to escape the ordinary and just escape that is expected from us, right?
Yeah.
Just work on the regular things, work on the things that society expects you to do, right? We wanted to just try to push ourselves in a way where we wanted to see how we can stand out from the things that were kind of not meant for us. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it makes sense. And I think that is why the theme of this podcast or the category of this podcast is very generic. We did not stick to one thing. We thought that we'd talk about everything and anything at all, even if it's something that we do not really know about. We'd still do the research. We would try to learn as much as we can because we wanted to push ourselves.
Exactly. And we started discussing and having these conversations back in January 2021. And I call us brain twinnies for a reason because back then I was thinking that maybe I want to start a podcast, but it was just in the mind. It was not on paper, it was not in a journal, it was not out there, but in my mind. But then we had this late night call, and you shared this idea with me that you wanted to start a podcast and how cool it would be for us to do it together because
Yeah.
we are definitely better together, we are funnier together, we have better conversations when we're together.
Yeah.
And I think it somehow comes out from the fact that all of those late night conversations about life, about topics like feminism, beauty standards, men, the world, the universe, everything that we
Yeah.
used to discuss. And we just felt like those conversations were nothing less than a mini podcast in
Yeah.
itself. If we did have those recordings, it would have been crazy on how much we bonded and how many thoughts and opinions we had. And I think it's good to have a voice, it's good to be able to use it, it's good to have a platform where you can share your opinions. I know we both kind of restricted ourselves from just saying things out loud. We felt
Yeah.
somewhat, we felt held back or not good enough. But I think it's time to just get out there and say things that are important to you.
Absolutely. And I think that is what I'm most excited about. To be able to talk about things that I was not really able to talk about before, to be able to call out stuff, to be able to, just talk about my mental health, talk about the things that are wrong in this world. Even if it might not have a really big audience right now, I know that if we continue to talk about the things that really matter to us, I think I would like to believe that we would be able to make a change. We would be able to, yeah, just help somebody or make some change. I think that is what I really want to do. That is what my goal is. And also, like you said, that you had this idea of starting a podcast by yourself back then. Same actually. Even I had thought of starting a podcast alone, but then I knew that together we would be better because I knew that our friendship is really strong, right? So, because to start a podcast or to do something like this, you need somebody who you feel really comfortable with, who you feel really easy with, right? Who you can be really vulnerable with. So, yeah.
I think we became really close during COVID when we used to make sure that we're doing okay, when we checked on each other at all times, and we just made sure that we don't feel alone during a time where there was so much uncertainty. And I think it was a time where a lot of people realized so much about their friendships, where they stand,
Hmm.
what's their value. And I think for us, it was definitely something that helped us grow, right?
Yeah.
And when we met for the first time, I had no idea that we could be so close,
Yeah.
you know. And even though we met at work, we sort of shared personal things right from the start, and it just felt like a really nice connection.
Yeah, from the moment I met you, Gayatri, I knew. I just knew that we would be friends.
And why is that?
Because out of everybody in the team, you were the only one who looked at me and just gave a really, really warm smile. Everybody else was just looking at me like, okay, there's this new person in the team. Fine. Who is she? But you were the only one who looked at me and said hi and smiled, and I was like, oh, thank God, somebody nice.
So I was watching this video of Taylor Swift where she said that she loves to make music with her friends because not only the experience gets so much better when you're working with somebody that you love, the output is even more rewarding,
Yeah.
right? When you make something with your friends, when you make something with people that you look up to artistically, and and who inspired you, it's really good. And so it definitely makes you feel really strong, right? And it makes you feel like, if even if you have some issues, and obviously you'll get obstacles across the path, but as long as you have those friends with you working on the projects together, it somehow makes things easier to face,
Yeah.
right? That you might not be able to do otherwise.
Yeah. Even, it might not be related to what we are talking about, but I read this thing that when you are starting something professionally, the journey can be really lonely because you have to figure out things yourself. And even though we might not be doing something really big, we might not be starting a business, but still it is something that we are really hopeful about, this podcast, right? And to have somebody with you in that journey is just makes you feel less lonely, or just makes you feel, yeah, it just makes the process better.
Yes, it does.
And it also reminds me, that the podcast is not the only thing that we had planned to do, right?
Exactly.
We initially decided to start an e-commerce business. We even had done some research. We had thought of a couple of ideas, and yeah, we were really into it actually initially. But it actually is quite interesting because we not only we connect emotionally, but we also connect, artistically, or we connect professionally as well, if that makes sense, that we connect in so many ways that we can think about business ideas, we can even talk about personal stuff, we can talk about mental health, we can talk about everything and anything at all. And it's interesting to see that because I don't think I've had many friendships in my life that are like this.
Yeah. It's interesting how you said about friendships, right? I had this belief when I was in school and college that this is it. These are the friendships that I'm gonna have all my life now, and I'm not gonna make new friends because back then आपके दिमाग में ऐसी चीज़ें डाल देते हैं कि when you're at work, you can't really find nice people. Outside of school and college, you don't really meet people who genuinely have good intentions for you. But I think I was proven wrong very soon. As soon as I met you and I started meeting new people, I realized that friendships after school and college are also extremely precious and they kind of help you navigate adulthood even better.
Yeah, same actually. Most of the friends that I have right now are the ones that I've met after school or college. I'm actually not in touch with anybody from school except one person, and I'm not in touch with anybody from college, and I am better for it because I like my circle small, and I'm happy with the people that I have right now. Yeah.
Like they say, the less people you chill with, the less drama you deal with.
Yeah.
I think most of the friendships that I've had after school and college kind of made me feel even more supported, even more protected than I felt back in school or college for that matter, right? And I just feel like the kind of support that I felt and how your friends would take stand for you, right? Like you would in so many things, and it would kind of make me feel odd. And I was like, if something matters to me so much, how is it affecting her so much as well? I've never had that kind of situation before. Like, it was always me feeling and struggling alone and not having somebody take a stand for me when I can't take a stand for myself. And now I feel with you, it's like sometimes when I can't take a stand for myself, you would. It's and I'm just so grateful for the friendship that we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It is really, really important to have friendships or people around you who make you feel safe. It is the most important thing, I think, especially because we are all dealing with so much, especially after COVID, I think. We have all dealt with so much, and it's good to have people who are there for you, and yeah, people who are just there for you. And I know so many people around me who have many friends, who have a bunch of friends, at least people they call friends, but they're not happy with them, and they'd often say that they do not make them feel safe, or they do not make them feel heard. And if you have such friends, then you need to recognize this, and you need to recognize that it is not a good thing to have. I mean, you already have so much going on then. And with that, you do not need people who are making you feel bad about yourselves. I mean, it's okay if you just have one friend. You do not need 10 people, out of whom like 9 of them are making you feel bad or making you feel insecure or whatever it is. It's better to just have one person. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just have 2 people in my corner than 100 people who do not have anything good to say. And another thing that I want to say is that it's very easy to be competitive in a friendship or be
Mhm.
competitive with your friends.
Hmm.
And people say that it's a good thing. It's good to have a healthy competition among your friends, but I think it's very rare to see friends who do not feel that for each other. It's very rare to see friends who support each other in their growth and are genuinely happy
Yeah.
for each other's growth. And I need those friends. I do not need friends who are competitive with me. I do not need friends who will even feel slightly jealous in my growth or my achievements. I only need friends who help me or who are happy for my success, and vice versa, of course.
True. बहुत deep shit बात कर दी तूने. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic that you touched on, and I think we don't acknowledge this enough.
Definitely. I think it comes with age, I think.
Amisha, you're only 23, girl. I think this whole concept of competition and jealousy, right? It eats you up more than it eats anyone else, because they're gonna still do their thing. They're gonna still kick ass. You can sit here sulk, or you can root for them and
Yeah.
be inspired. In fact, I this is not like related to friendship, because if you think your friends are jealous and stuff, first of all, they're not your friends. So moving on from that,
Yes,
if
yeah.
you do feel jealous or competitive, or and you try to create competition where competition doesn't even exist, so you need to first of all stop trying to create competitions where competitions don't exist, because
Yeah.
people are on their own journeys. What's yours will be yours. You will excel in what you excel. You will shine when you shine, and nobody can take that from you. But also, it's a fact that when you genuinely feel jealous for someone, from someone, you should actually go and root for them even more,
Yeah.
because it kind of gives you that inspiration that if they can do it, I can do it. And the most interesting part about all of this is that you may see somebody who is having everything that you want, and they're going the most amazing trips, and uh, they're in the most amazing relationship, or they have the best, or they just have everything that you want. But you don't know what's going behind the scenes. You don't know how they are dealing with everything mentally. So I think that kind of makes you feel like there's nothing really to be jealous of, because
Hmm.
that person would still be having a struggle that you can't imagine. And it just makes me think, like, sometimes when look at someone and I feel jealous, I think of myself, would I want that person to get rid of that? Would I be happy if they didn't have that thing anymore? And I don't like that thought.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't want them to not have that thing anymore. And I don't want them to just not have that happiness, that success, because all of it is very futile. It comes and goes. So, oh, it comes with age, like you said.
You are just 24, Gayatri.
Yes. So this is how we decided to tell our ages.
This was all planned. The only takeaway is that I'm 23 and Gayatri is 24.
Moving on, as we are drawing towards the end of this episode, I want to ask you some fun and interesting questions, right?
Okay.
So, what's the best gift that you've received from me
Hmm.
ever?
Ever. I think you gave me a couple of canvases last Christmas. And yeah, that is the best thing you ever gave me because I needed them. I really needed them back then. So you helped me make art. You helped me with my artistic journey. So yeah, what about you?
I think the best gift that you've given me is a mug. That's like the perfect winter mug, and I love that it has a painting of like the most beautiful mountains and like a beautiful sunset, and I really like that.
Okay. But I also gave you a painting, by the way, that birthday.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, you gave me a painting. Oh, okay. So wait. So I have that painting right in front of my mirror, and I love it. And it's beautiful, and it's so personalized and everything. It's just
Yeah,
I see it every
thanks.
day. No, no, it's just I see it every day, and it completely just
You see it every day and yet you forgot about it. Okay. All right. All right. I get it.
That's some psychology that I don't understand, but
Yeah, of
it is
course.
what
You'd
it
say that.
is. All right. Okay. Next up, what is the song on your mind right now?
Hmm. So the song that I have been listening to on loop nowadays is Lift Me Up by Rihanna. So it's from the movie Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, right? And that was also the first time I listened to the song, and I was just, yeah, I've been hooked to it ever since. What about you?
My favorite song would be These Days Nobody Gets Me by SZA.
Oh, actually, I listened to it, Aji, this song, for the
You
first time.
liked it?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, I can't stop listening to that song. It's really good.
Yeah. So, what is your best travel memory of us?
I have one.
Okay,
I have many, but I'll tell you one.
I said best, not the worst.
Okay, so we'll not talk about the worst. I think the best travel memory that I have with you is when we had this waiting period in McLeodganj, right?
Waiting period?
Yeah, we were waiting because our bus was not scheduled for like 1 hour, right?
Acha, that is your best travel memory.
So travel, as in, okay, so I have many travel memories. I think it would be when we went on a hike and we saw these beautiful, the flag, the prayer flags, the flag points, the prettiest sunsets. I think I might have seen the best sunsets with you.
Oh,
Holy shit!
oh yeah, I agree though. Same. Huh.
What about you?
Oh, okay. Best travel memory.
With an accent.
Mm. I think it was your first day in McLeodganj, right? And Joe, our mutual friend, was also there. And I think the best part about that day was that it was very spontaneous. We did everything very spontaneously. Yeah, we visited multiple places that day. We saw many places that day, and it was all spontaneous. Joe had his bus that night, so we had to do everything very quickly. But we did that, and I think that's amazing because even after staying in McLeodganj for about 3 months, I hadn't seen those places myself. So yeah, it was quite great. We
Yeah, I
explored
do.
new places.
Yeah, I do bring in that kind of spontaneity to everyone's lives.
Thanks, Gayatri. Without you, we would be incomplete. My life is incomplete without you.
Okay, I think now it's time to just put an end to it. I think it's also the fact that you can't really travel with everyone and you can't feel that level of comfort. But it was just that it was my first day and I was so excited. And I just wanted to see all of these places with Joe and you. And it was definitely one of the best days. And I remember how we were discussing that some days were just not doing anything. And sometimes there are days like these where
Yeah.
in just one day we end up going to like so many places doing so many things. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love those days though. I love them.
And I love you.
Okay. Okay, so guys, on this note, on this very beautiful note, um, yeah, on this note,
Okay, guys. So, on this very beautiful note, like Amisha said, but couldn't complete, we would see you in the next podcast. Hope you guys got to know us a little better. Um, from this one, in the next one, we'll be talking about some really interesting topics. So, hope you check that out. And if you like this one, please rate us. It would mean the world. Bye.
bye bye.